Hey everyone, and welcome to the Retro channel. This is part 2 of the Commodore 64 Repair from Hell series, so if you haven't already seen the first part, I'll stick a link up there and also down in the video description. But yeah, this machine has thrown up so many challenges, and yeah, I kind of regret even starting work on it, but it has been a fun challenge nonetheless. So we're going to pick straight back up from where we left on the last video, which is pulling out one of the MOS logic chips, which doesn't go so well. While I wait for that to run through, what is a MOS 7712? It's a 74 LS08. So yeah, that's coming out as well. Cool, looks like it made it through one pass of the dead test. Obviously these are all messed up because I don't have the CIAs involved and they're required for the timers. Just going to quickly swap out this other MOS chip. Nasty things. And let's swap over to the diagnostic this time. Oh, yeah. You need all the other stuff for the diagnostic. Yep. Now I think I've got those ROMs the right way around. I'm pretty sure it goes 226, 227, and then 225. If I've messed them up, it's not a big deal because they're all electrically compatible, so the machine will just not boot. Yep, okay, got them right. The image quality is terrible. Oh, we have a random star. And it stopped. Let's just reset. No random star. I do not like glitches like that. The timer's not counting up either. And it's hung on RAM test 2. Just going to go back to the dead test for a second. Now we've got a single flash. Let's... One flash, well at least that's consistent so far. Okay. And it's working, so possibly bad basic ROM. Timers are still not counting up though. Alright, let's just put in just the basic ROM. One flash. Is it the ROM? Is it something connected to it down in this area? Just going to save myself some time, swap the ROM. Ooh, alright, so with a known working basic ROM, still getting all kinds of messed up gibberish. Just do a little bit of contact cleaner in the socket. So, dare I say something connected to the basic ROM isn't right. Possibly there's a trace that's still missing, or maybe I've connected something wrong again. Surely that couldn't happen twice. Well, that don't look right. That's pin 12 on the basic ROM. Alright, well pin 12 is supposed to go to ground, and it looks like that leg in there is a little bit dirty, so that's probably why we were getting a weird result. Well, we don't have any flashing anymore. Aha! So maybe just a poor ground connection on the basic ROM. Okay, put these back in again. All right, diagnostic again. Well, this is already more promising. What's our volume like? Turn that up a bit. All the errors are because there's no harness. Right, so the SID may have an issue as well. I heard all the little, different notes, but the noise channel didn't seem to do anything, so there were no noises at the end. But yeah, still no timers either. Let's just contact cleaner lubricant that socket. Doesn't have the same ring to it. Still no movement on the timers. Right, so pin 19 on the CIA should have our timer inputs. And they're both flat. They come from pin 8 of U27. Well, that's this guy again. Nothing on pin 8 of U27. And pin 9 and 10 are the inputs to that. 9 doesn't have much going on. Neither does 10. There doesn't seem to be anything coming in on, at least on one side of R5, we should see a 50 Hertz sine wave. All right, so maybe I was zoomed in a little bit too much on the scope. The time base was looking at stuff in the megahertz, and I'm looking for stuff in the hertz. So let's check that again. Pin 19 on the CIAs still has nothing. Pin 8 on U27 has nothing, and the inputs to that are pin 9, which does have something, and pin 10. Pin 10 is supposed to be plus 5 volts, which it is. We've got our 50 Hertz signal going into pin 9 on U27, and that is supposed to be ANDed together with plus 5 volts to give us a more square 50 Hertz output. But we're getting no output on pin 8. Maybe this logic that I put in here is bad as well. Or maybe it's being pulled to ground by something. Just for fun, let's throw the MOS logic back in there. What? The MOS logic works. And yes, the timers are counting up. Wow. That's unexpected. IC looks, well, new. But it's not out of the question for it to be faulty, I guess. Yep, nothing there. How annoying. Let's try a different one. Nothing. How bizarre. And yeah, on the schematics, U27 is a 74 LS08. So do I just have a bunch of faulty ones here? So it would appear that I have a full set of bad 74 LS08. These are obviously all from the same batch, from the same seller. Pretty sure it's an AliExpress job, but let's throw them in the Mini Pro and see what happens. So the Mini Pro is not only a very handy programmer, it can also test basic logic chips. So let's have a look on here and see what it says about, let's just try this MOS 7708 first, which is actually a 74 LS257. And there we go. It is failing on a couple of those gates. So yep, that is definitely a bad chip and not a surprise. Now for these guys, these are supposed to be 7408s. And they test as 7408s. I'm just curious what this other MOS 7408 tests like. I mean, it already seems to be working, so it shouldn't be a surprise that it's going to test good, but yep, that tests good as well. So a 7408 tests the same as a 7408. What's the deal? Well, I think I've seen something like this before. If you've seen Noel's Retro Lab, he actually did a video where he had the same kind of issue. The 74 LS08 that he was using did not work to provide the time to the CIAs. I think what I've got here, and not to spoil that video if you haven't seen it, I think what I've got here is a 74HC08 that has been branded as a 74LS08. The difference with the LS08 is that it has a lower level of voltage required to give it a high output. So if you've got a HC08, you need a higher voltage level in order to provide a high output. The issue comes from the 2.7 volt Zener diode. So it will only output something close to, 2 plus volts. And if you have a HC08, it needs about 3 plus volts in order to provide a high logic level. So these are not working, probably because they're actually HC versions branded as LS versions, which is why they also still test okay in the Mini Pro. Let's do a quick test with some IPA, see if anything comes off this chip. It does look pretty stock. There's a little bit of black stuff coming off, but not that much. That could just be dirt. And yet, apart from being a little bit shinier, it still looks exactly the same. Let's try some acetone. Usually, acetone will take off any paint if these have been repainted. Ooh, and we are getting a lot of black off. The chip is certainly not shiny anymore, but it still does say LS08. And now we get a lot less. And yeah, it does still say 74 LS08, so I think these have just been manufactured this way. That is kind of annoying though, because it means it will not work for this particular instance. At this point, I'm probably just going to leave this MOS logic in there, at least until I get some proper 74 LS08s. I suppose the other option could be to increase the value of that Zener diode to something over 3 volts, but I don't really want to do that. I'd rather just have this replaced with a proper 74 LS08. So I guess really the last thing to do is run the full diagnostic with harness, see if it throws up any more errors. I'm just going to give these edge connectors a quick clean. It looks like somebody went over and re-tinned some of the cassette ports, so maybe it was in bad shape. A little bit for the ports. Right, harness is all hooked up. We're ready for the diagnostic. Timers are working. Ooh, still got bad on the cassette port. Could just be that edge connector. The good news is that noise channel is there, so it's possible that I just couldn't hear it with the pissy little speakers from my janky LCD thingy. So the SID sounds like it's working. Just the cassette port might need a touch up. Good old pencil eraser. Just squirt a little contact cleaner in here for good measure. Try again. Awesome, cassette port is okay. We are golden. Alright, so final thing I want to do before I put all this away is put some heat sinks on here, especially the VIC-2. If it doesn't have the metal can with the heat sink that pushes down on top, you definitely want to throw a heat sink on the VIC-2. It gets mighty hot. Probably one for the SID as well, but I usually just go all the major ICs. Just give them a little clean first. I also just like to write what the actual part is on the underside, just so if somebody pops all these things out at once, they'll know where to put everything back. Right, and there we go. I did take a quick snap with the thermal cam just to see what the temperatures are like, and it looks like the SID was getting the hottest, but yes, all of these major ICs were getting quite warm. The basic ROM wasn't, but it would look kind of weird if I didn't put a heatsink on that and heatsink the rest. So Heatsinks, I mean, they might prolong the life of it, but they're not going to make this thing last forever, unfortunately. But I'd rather have them on there for the high heat generating components. Really, the last thing left to do is clean up the case and the keyboard. Now, I'm not going to do that in this video, but we'll just give the keyboard a quick test, make sure it's actually functioning. It'll be just my luck if I get this far and then something else doesn't work. Right, this will do, the Trilogic test keyboard. It's good. So I think that is it for this one. A massive thanks to everyone for watching. Huge thanks to the people that support the channel on Patreon. And if you want to do the same, links to that are down below. You'll get early access and ad-free videos, along with some little other updates that I release for patrons. So yeah, as always, thanks for watching the Retro channel. Leave a comment below if you have any thoughts, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye. Now, let's see how good I am at Hero through a very laggy capture device. Oh, I forgot how to lay bombs, right?